Hello. I am incredibly excited to have this very special guest. Yay, yay, yay. Honestly, guys, you just want to hear the outpour of wisdom from my incredible guest. I'm just so really happy and I'm so thrilled. Like, I want you to get your notes. I want you to get your pen. Get your pen ready because you will be learning so much from, my very incredible guest. Her name is Jessika. I don't know if I pronounced her name wrong. So her name is Jessika Fuhrmaneck.
Yeah.
She is honestly she's a writer, she's a public speaker, she's an actor, and she has been a dedicated advocate for the support and recovery of women who have been exploited in the commercial sex trade. She is a member, and she's a member of the Speakers Bureau for Treasury's Ministry, as well as Nola Brantley Speaks.
Right.
And these are basically survival-led organizations designed to bring awareness, resources, and empowerment to victims of human trafficking and exploitation. So I'm just going to talk more about my special guest. She focuses on helping hurting people get better from where they are to where they want to be. And she writes content intended to empower and equip individuals, families, and communities. Most currently, she published her latest book, which is titled From Pain to Purpose. Guys, I have a story about that book. I will really tell you guys later on as we go. So her book is titled From Pain to Purpose, of which all the proceeds go to the benefits of survivors. Mm-hmm. All the proceeds of the book goes to the benefit survivors through her foundation, which is basically, you can get it at www.frompaintopurpose.org. Jennifer is currently based out of Los Angeles, California, where she continues her work as an actor and as a writer. Hey, everyone. I just really want you guys to welcome Jessika. Yeah, Jessika, I really want to officially welcome you to the Beautifully Broken Me podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. I am incredibly happy. I am thrilled. You've just been impacting so much lives, and I just like what you're doing, and I really want to welcome you again. Welcome to the show.
It means a great deal to me that you would say that. That is my purpose.
Welcome. Honestly, I just really want you to, tell us any other thing that we've not really mentioned on your bio. Is there any other?
Yeah, so I started performing in entertainment at the age of 4. I did my first live radio performance as a singer at that age, and toured throughout as a child, and I started modeling when I was 14, and acting on stage at 14, and then quickly going into TV and film from there. And so what happened along the way is that, I was abused as a child. And then in the entertainment world, I experienced harassment, assault. Just wasn't a safe place, as I'm sure we all know now, thanks to the amazing Me Too movement. But at this time, there was nowhere for me to get help that I could find. It was more of a boys club, boys town style Hollywood, and you just kept your mouth shut or got potentially blacklisted from the industry for complaining about being abused. That's not even an appropriate way to put it. Like, for asking your community to not abuse you, it would be a better way to put it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And along the way, just from experiencing my own exploitation, so many people helped me. And when I got to a place that was safe and free and purposed, I couldn't I couldn't walk away without saying, let me offer my hand to anyone who is still currently experiencing abuse and exploitation, so that provide resources for you. And that's where I wound up getting on these speakers bureaus and becoming a writer in that area and focusing on providing resources to human trafficking survivors primarily.
Wow, like I'm really thrilled by this because it's seeing how you have really used your pain to provide power to people who are hurting. Like it's just things like this that really kind of moves me a lot, because you didn't use your pain to be like, okay, people caused me pain and I'm gonna revenge, or I'm gonna do
Yeah.
but you used it to give back to the world, and in a positive way. And I am so thrilled by that. And
I'm glad to hear you say that. I'd like to touch on something you just said there for a second. It has been said, and I've noticed along my journey, that sometimes the abused becomes the abuser. So we kind of go one of two ways. We either go through a experience of forgiveness, which I write about in one of the sessions in the book. Wish I could remember every session and what they're about, but like, oh, I should grab the book and show it to you guys. I will. And so, or we sometimes become angry and stay angry for too long, when we wind up abusing others.
Wow.
And so I like anger because it's a starting point. It's above depression. Depression, when I'm turning all of my abuse inward, shame, blame. Anger is better. Oh no, I can acknowledge that it wasn't me, right? And then if you can get past anger, higher up the scale, then you experience forgiveness, which is when you can start, we as a community can start to step into our purposes. It's very challenging to step into our purposes unless we have forgiven.
Absolutely.
It's not really going to work out.
Absolutely.
But you can take your time with it. Don't have to do it today. Don't have to forgive today. Maybe tomorrow.
It's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Like healing is actually for us and forgiveness is for us. But it just sometimes it's much more easier to be like, hey, I'm not going to ever forgive this person because he did this and this and this to me. But when we say that, yeah, we have every reason to do that, right? But we just end up kind of like hurting ourselves even more, because it just kind of keeps us in that place of, bitterness, keeps us in that place where we still constantly hurt ourselves, because it doesn't give room for healing. We can't really get healed. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, patterns develop as a survivor. So I still do this. So please do not watch this and think, oh, Jessica's all better. I still am processing this portion I'm about to talk about, where so I've had voices from birth to adulthood, all through the decades, who said things to me that were lies about my identity. And sometimes we're still operating from that lie and acting out, or we're operating from a place of, I have to do this to survive. Like for me, it was hiding. If I could be invisible enough, then my father might not see me and he might not hurt me, right? So now I'm still hiding. I have a personal coach. I have a couple of coaches because I need coaching. Good Lord. And he was saying to me this week, you're hiding. And I was like, I am, because that's what survivors do. We latch onto that survival mechanism. So if you dig into this book and other resources like this book, you're going to realize at a certain point that we will have to let those patterns go and build a new healthy way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, guys, you need to get this book. Like it is.
I gotta grab it. I can't resist.
Yeah, you can grab it so quick. Okay. So honestly, guys, you need to get this book. It's such an incredible book. Like everybody needs it. It is into purpose. It says how to return to purpose after experiencing, pain. And you really need to get this book. Honestly, we're gonna dive right into the book. We're just going to talk, about the book in a bit. I just really want us to really talk about this topic, when life gives you lemon. Right? So life happens, life happened to everybody. For me, life gave me lemon at some point of my life when I experienced domestic violence. And for me, I would say I lived a decent life. Like I got married to this guy, and he was my first relationship. He was my first date. Everything was just first, basically. And then I got into this marriage. I was 22, and then he took advantage of me. He, like, it was all manner of abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and all of those kind of things. So it was more like life gave me lemon. And sometimes when this happened, we're not prepared, we're not ready. Like it doesn't announce to you that, hey, I am coming, but it just happened. And I was, it brought me into a state where I completely lost myself. I had no sense of self-worth. My self-image was zero. I had zero self-confidence. I walked on eggshell. I will constantly second guess myself. I will always put myself down. I will always, I'm always afraid. Like, everything was just zero. And that was basically, the lemon phase of my life, when life gave me those kind of lemon. And it was really, really terrible. It was bad. And I've shared the story in this, in one of my episodes in this podcast, because I actually didn't know where to go to. Being an African American, I had no family, had no friends, basically. I had to flee, and I ran to the shelter. The shelter home was basically where I got help. And that is one of the reasons why I can relate with it. Like I can empathize, I can comfortably feel the pain of anybody who's experiencing domestic violence, because I have experienced it. And I say this all the time, like if I had not experienced it, I wouldn't have been able to fully empathize with anybody who is going through such kind of struggle. Yeah, I might get it a little bit, but not exactly, because I've never worn that shoe before. So now I just really want to ask you, and again, I really like it when you started, you're using your pain the right way, something you experienced, and now you're using it to kind of like coach other people. You're a coach, you're using it to support other people. You're using it to kind of hold their hands, like holding their hands and be like, listen, I understand. I know what you're going through, I want to know, like, how does this topic resonate to you? Does it resonate to you in any way?
Yes, so much of what you're saying. I feel like I also had those transition experiences and those seasonal experiences when I was in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've survived many things. I'll just touch on a couple. Divorce, which was bad. I was just under such control, and just really asking to not be controlled and being punished for asking for freedom and safety. And then when I was 30, which is young, I developed a very rare chronic blood disorder, which is a cancer. It's a blood cancer.
Wow.
It was so rare. They barely knew what to do with me. And I was very sick for 3 years. And they expected me to die within a certain time frame. And I went into a spontaneous remission. It's a little bit of a long story, which I'm going to talk about on your next question, but I'll explain how that kind of happened. And then I've survived, endless harassment, but that some of those harassments led to assaults. And so there's a lot to unpack after that. So what I would say, as far as when life gave me lemons thing, I noticed that like none of it was my fault, right? Like it wasn't through any fault of mine. And so once I got to a safe place, like you were talking about, the shelter. So once I got to my safe place and no longer communicating with my abusers, like blocking them so they can't talk to me, I was able to, spend a year literally, just downloading from what I call God. I'm not offended by any words anybody uses. So God works for me. Just spending a year downloading, what is it that I need to do? How do I need to heal? How do I go from my pain to my purpose? Because I was really lost and could not remember what I had come here for at all. Just, I was just a survivor at that point, but I wanted to be a thriver, which is different. And so what wound up happening is I journaled everything I did in those 12 months. And at the end of the 12 months, I was like, oh, book, this is a book. Like it was so clearly a book. And then thank God, my amazing publisher picked it up, and now here we are.
Yay.
So yeah, so now it's, the people that are experiencing abuse or have or coming out of it, now it's your turn to tap into everything that I've been through, that Noble IJ has been through, and see if we can get you going from a place, from your pain to a more purposed place, step by step, step by step. The book has really clear action steps. I'm really into action. Like I love inspired thought, and we could talk about emotion, we could talk about spirit, and we could talk about mentally. It's all important. But I'm one of those people where I was like, can you tell me ABC what to do today? Like I need a thing to do, a tangible thing. I can't be stuck in the head all the time. So this talks about the head and the heart, and then goes into what does that look like in your room, in your house, in your closet, in your body, in your morning. Like it goes from mental to physical.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So I am just really like enjoying this conversation so much. And if you're listening, I hope you're enjoying it too. So I just want to kind of like, touch on basically like my moment of awareness. And I'm going to ask you also, because people have always asked me like, what was your moment of awareness? Like that was a question I always get, how were you able to turn that broken situation? Because this platform is called The Beautifully Broken Me. We've been broken, we've experienced one season of brokenness or the other. And how were you able to change it? How were you able to transition? What was basically your moment of awareness?
I've had a couple of moments of awareness in different phases of my abuse or survival. But I'm going to talk about one that comes to mind today. When I was ill, and it was hard. I was in and out of the ER. When I would have ischemic strokes, and in those moments, I would have temporary blindness and loss of hearing. So I would be blind and deaf for maybe an hour or two. These are really intense things to survive, and that went on for 3 years. So my mother is part Native American and has always passed on to us our nation's practices, which is amazing because I'm already now so far removed from our culture and community because, the natives unfortunately experienced a genocide. So there's so few culture for me to find of my culture. But she passed everything to us that she had. And when I was very ill, and I had gotten to a place where I kind of had accepted death, because they told me that this is what's coming. And I was sick and hurting, and you don't want to hurt for year after year. You actually want to stop. And that leads to the wanting to die experience, because it would be more peaceful, it feels like at that point. I went to the reservation. I had spent lots of time on my friend's reservation, and I went there and I met with the shaman that I'm good friends with, and that I really like to work with and had worked with before. And he took everything away from me, no phones, no TV for like a week or two. No one could contact me, no one could speak to me. I was in the desert, at a mountain. And he asked me at one point in the middle of this, quest to figure out why I was sick, spiritually. And he said, Jessika, you really just have to choose. Do you want to live more life, or if you're done, are you comfortable passing on now? And I said, okay, let me think about it. And I went and I meditated and I prayed and I sat on a mountain. I'm so dramatic about my coaching experience. I literally will like sit on the top of a mountain, and pray to God, because that's how I do things.
Absolutely.
And at the end of this little time on the res, I decided I did want to live. That was what I came to. And, you know, and so that was a moment of awareness. I was like, oh, I have more to do. And I hadn't thought about that until he asked me.
Oh, wow.
And then I'll make a long story really short. I went back to LA, continued seeing my doctors, continued being sick. Within a year, within about 9 months, I went into spontaneous remission, which is a scientific anomaly, which is they have no reason why I'm not sick and dead. No reason.
Wow.
It wasn't I finished my treatment. It wasn't the treatment worked. I actually refused my treatment because it was so dangerous. You know how it is with medicine. And by the way, if you're sick and you want to take medicine, please do not take it, because I just said that I take medicine. But in that moment, I didn't want that particular treatment. I didn't feel peace about it. And so I went to spontaneous remission, and I live now. And I consider they had slated me to not live past the year 2016. That was like you know how they give you like, you'll live this long. And so I'm like, well, 5 years. So every year is a bonus year, right? So all of this, me talking to you right now, like you're talking to a ghost, like I'm alive, you know what I mean? So I can't live all this time without reaching a hand out and hurting people get from where they want to be or from where they are to where they want to be. I have to do it. I have to. I literally can't turn that off. So that's my moment of awareness bringing me to where I'm at now. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It really does. And I'm just really like excited that you're really passionate about pouring out and you know, pouring out, reaching out, you know, you have so much in you. And one of my mentors will always say that she's on a mission to die empty. Because
yes, I like this.
Yeah, you know, because we have so much in us and it's not time yet until we're done pouring out, until we're done with the job that the master has called us to do. So yes, so definitely. So you're not going anywhere until you've completely poured out, and you know, and we're just really on that mission to die empty. We're really not going to die with all the wisdom and everything that he has deposited in us. Like, we would definitely do it at the right time. Yes.
I love all of that. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And this is an amazing testimony. And I'm really like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Like, so dramatic. Yeah. Yes, I am so thrilled and excited. Yes. Good to have you again. Like, you know, sharing this just kind of gives me so much joy that, you know, 2016 to 17, 18, like you're still counting, and you're still going to leave more and more and more to continue the good work you're doing. And yes, God bless you. Yes, so I am excited about this particular question I want to ask you. And I'm just really going to share a little story about how I came across your book. Yes, so at my place of work, I actually had this colleague of mine who had a book. So he just had a book in his hand, and I was just kind of like, oh, what's that? And it was basically From Pain to Purpose, and it was Jessika Fuhrmaneck. Like, I was like, wow, can I just can I scan through this book? And he's like, please, I am reading this book and I just can't, I'm just going to give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes is even too much. Okay, 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, you know. So I really didn't like, I'm actually going to get a copy of your book after today, like really, because, you know, I just really like scanned through the book, and it was really incredible, like such an incredible book, you know. I wouldn't say it's not just like a regular book. It's more like what am I? It's more like a workbook.
It's like a program.
Yes, it's like a program. It's really not like a book. It's like a program. It's packaged like completely. Everything is very comprehensive. That's what I'm looking for. It's very comprehensive. It's fully packed with so many good stuff. And I highly recommend this book, guys. If you're listening, please get a copy of this book. And I really want you to share with us, like, maybe one of your aha moments in that book, you know, anything you want to, you know, you want the audience to know about your book.
Yeah, I will. So let's make the book make sense for you guys. So I would say it's described as a mini book. So so it's 120 pages. This is not going to take over your world to read. Like it's not going to take a year. Although I don't think it's bad to do it over the course of a year. I did it myself. It was 12 months for me I did everything you see in this book. So I broke it down into, let me just see if I can show this, into 12 sessions. So if you just go to the contents, you'll see 1 through 12 and each of those topics. And, it starts with, how hard are you holding on to things, which comes from control, which comes from need to survive, right? Mm-hmm. So first we deal with like, you have to let that go. Mm-hmm. Then we step into what are you putting into your body and how are you moving your body? Because I'm a big fan of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you know it, Google it. I find that if I do these things in order, it builds a foundation that works for functioning. And then if I know that I've eaten my food today, if I know that I've moved my body, I now have strength, I have substance, I now have a clear mind. And then we can talk about other things.
Absolutely.
Right? But without the foundations, especially for survivors, we will quickly go to a darker place. So I start with that because you have to start there. Mm-hmm. And then, it goes into talking about your vision, how to break. I'm such a supporter of taking a break. I take so many breaks. I take weekends off. I take quarterly trips. I'll take 1 to 3 months off to go meditate. People think I'm nuts for doing that because everyone's about the grind, especially here in Hollywood. The grind is not where it's at. Focused thought is where it's at. Downloading God's message to you is where it's at. So if you take a break, you actually become more powerful because you can hear. So I talk about that. I talk about praying. I talk about self-esteem, because now that you've built your health and body and mental back up, you have to learn how to manage the abusive world around you. You have to learn to disinvite abusers. It's a whole thing. I would say session 8 is huge. Probably might be my favorite session. And then, we go into purpose. So we end with the purpose, but I would say my aha moment is intriguing. So like, I always had this dream that I would have like a partner and like 3 kids, and that has not happened. And so for me, the first session was all about like crushing that dream by holding on and overly focusing on it and having all these emotions about, in other words, I was looking at the lack of rather than the abundance of. I'm like surrounded by abundance, right? Amazing friends. I mean, my friends are like the best people in the world, right? So I have like the safest group of people, and I have beautiful furniture, right? Like I live in the Sherman Oaks Hills. I probably shouldn't say where I live. Don't stalk me. I'm still such a survivor. Don't come. I live in the hills, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, right? But I'm looking at the one thing I don't see, right? The part, whatever. And I had this aha moment where I realized that what I was looking for was the opportunity to give love. I was looking for the opportunity to receive joy, right? I was looking for an experience of joy and love. And I realized, well, I have a lot of love to give daily. And I started to recognize that I could direct it towards myself. I had not really intentionally taken that level of love and directed it toward myself and loved myself deeply and told myself the words that my God calls me and identify myself in the way God loves me. And so what happened is I had this aha, and I started directing the desire of partnership towards, I started to understand that the desire really was joy and love. Get to the root of it. There was a good, healthy need for joy and love. And so I then became, by deeply loving myself, and I can't even tell you, I love myself so much, physically, mentally, spiritually. I say good things to myself all morning long for like an hour. I have pre-recorded voice memos on my phone where I say in my own voice, you are wonderful, you are beautiful. I love myself. And then I realized I became a woman by loving myself, I became a woman who understands how to hear and love those around me in a way that was healthy and strong. And so that was my aha moment for the book, was that purpose isn't always what you think it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can expand a little, be a little less controlling about, this is what my purpose is. This is what it will look like. ABC, this color, this sound. You can just ease up. You might find a beautiful opportunity there.
Absolutely. That's so true. And I really like the fact that you decided to love on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just really one thing, like we can't really give what we don't have. So we can't love on other people when we don't love ourselves. You know, it's really not gonna make sense. And we can't really give it because we don't really love on ourselves, you know, and referring to where the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So basically, you know, you're just really gonna love yourself.
Yeah.
And that's when you love yourself, you'll be able to give out that same love to your neighbor. And it's just as simple as that. Yeah, I really like that part of it.
There's nothing else to do. Love yourself. Only good will come.
Yes, that's so true. And I just really want you to like touch the area of like healing. Because I've had that question a lot when people asked me and be like, wow, how were you able to heal? Because healing is crucial. I know we talked a little bit about it when we started. You know, it's crucial, it's critical, it's important. You know, we can't really overemphasize the importance of healing, especially like, you know, healing the abuser, healing anybody else who might have, you know, even healing ourselves or forgiving ourselves, you know.
Yes.
I just really want us to kind of like, you know, touch on that for a bit. Yeah, if you want to say something.
Okay, so I'm going to dig into, you know, responding to, if this makes sense to you, Noble IJ, responding to talking to someone who would be currently going through adversity right now. Does that make sense? So the first thing that I would say to you, who is, you know, surviving whatever you're surviving, you're doing a good job. You're doing an amazing job. You have purpose. You are beautiful. You have strength. You are more than you think that you are. And because in the moment where we're surviving, all we really have to do is remember who we are, and then get to a safe place. And the book starts from the safe place. Okay. So like before you get to session 1, you've most likely decided to walk towards a safe place, at least made the decision, like, I'm going to make a change. And then, so if you're feeling a little lost, which is what I was completely lost, couldn't even remember what I was here to do. I'm going to give you a quick freebie, right? So there's a way to navigate not knowing what to do. And so by lost, it could be, I broke up with my boyfriend. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do in my career. I don't know what I'm here to do. I don't know where I should move to. It's lost. Like, I have no clue. Take a moment, take your piece of paper and write down 10 things that could move you in a different direction, a better direction, a direction you might want to go. These things should be outrageous. Like, there can be no filter. It has to be, if there was unlimited funds and unlimited time, what are 10 things to do? Because when we try to minimize our options, we aren't drawing in all the power of God in that moment.
Absolutely.
And our power is minuscule compared to when we're tapped in. When we're tapped in, we have the power that builds worlds. So you don't want to miss that. So write down 10 things. And then circle like 3 or whatever, and look at them and ask yourself, what is the one thing on this list that makes my heart the happiest? Right? And do that thing first. Just do that thing. Just start doing that thing. A lot of times the thing is going to be something you don't think you're capable of doing. I promise you, all the best things you ever going to do are going to be impossible things. So true. I like wake up in the morning and ask myself, what are 5 impossible things I could do today? And because, so to wrap all this, little trick up, I use this 10 list trick whenever I get stuck. I still use it. I used it last week. It's nothing you grow out of, but you start with clarity of mind, and then it's followed by action. Even small action, doesn't have to be intense. And that brings alignment, which brings clarity, which brings focus. And all of these things to me just equal the Spirit of God. But from there, you just drive in a new direction.
True.
That's what I would recommend. That's a quick fit, that quick thing that you can do that starts you on the purpose path.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you so much for really sharing and for pouring out. And this is basically, what she just shared, guys, was actually for anyone who is struggling, or anyone who's experiencing pain, traumas, whatsoever it is. I just really want you to know that you're doing the right thing, like she said, and you get through it. Yeah, definitely. So quickly before we wrap up, I don't know, do you have any last and final word? And then you want to just really tell us where we can find you and where we can find your book. Absolutely.
All the links. I would say my final word for anyone listening, if you're going to write any notes today, let it be this one thing. What you focus on matters. Whatever you focus on is going to get bigger. Whatever you speak about is going to multiply. There's a verse in the Bible that says the power of life and death is in the tongue. This verse is true. Whether you read the Bible or don't read the Bible, just take that as truth. So the final word I would leave you with is choose your words wisely, because your reality is going to follow it.
I'm going to write that down.
Just real quick, for me, oftentimes that means not talking about my issues, abusers, bad things, lemons, and instead talking about my dream. About the dream instead, and then it will get bigger.
So I just really want to kind of go over what you just said. You said choose your words wisely, because your reality is going to follow it. And can you just kind of repeat what you just said last?
What I said last? What did I say last? I don't know. I'm basically just pointing out that talk about your dreams. Is that the part you're thinking of?
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, because I have moments where I want to maybe complain about difficulty of boy, this world is real tricky right now. Comfort is not a thing really right now. So I want to talk about my discomforts, my fear, or I want to talk about that date that didn't work out. And instead, I just go internally. And then when my friend asks me, how are you doing? Instead of, I go, I'm envisioning this new idea for the company, or I'm thinking about getting my nails done pink, like any dream, small or large. Or I might talk about, if I had a partner, he might be like this. All the things that I wished my date was like, right? So instead of talking about what wasn't there, so instead of focusing on the lacking thing that's not there, this is what session 1 is all about. Redirect and talk about your dream. It can be a small dream, like I want to go get a massage, to this is my life's purpose, or this is what I want my family to look like. Just talk about the dream.
That's amazing. Awesome. And most times we spend time looking ourselves at the mirror and just kind of looking at those things that we do not have. So a lot of people kind of take a look at themselves at the mirror, and all they're seeing is, oh God, I have these wrinkles on my face. I wish my hair was fuller. It's just basically one thing. Absolutely. And like just what you've just said, instead of focusing on what is not there, instead of focusing on those negative things, because, the power of life and death is in your, in your tongue, instead of just kind of thinking about, I wish this, I wish I was shorter, I wish I was taller, I wish this, I wish that, we can just kind of redirect our thinking and really focus on things that are edifying, things that are good, things that are noble, and you wanted to say something. I'm just gonna let you.
I'm gonna give another little like tangible way to do that. I am so obsessed with tangible ways to do things. Like I don't want to just talk to you guys about mentaling, which is mentaling is important, but how to make it real and physical. So every morning I have a journal and I write down about 9 things that I'm grateful for, because what it does is it redirects me from, you know, the wrinkle or the hair that's never puffy enough, right? Or the boyfriend that's not there, to actually, I'm stunning, I'm beautiful. Look at the youth that I have. Like, look how pretty my hair, you know, it doesn't matter what you look like, you can say these things. And they are true, and you are beautiful and you're stunning. I believe it. I believe that I will have beauty. I say to myself in one of my voice memos, you will be beautiful all the days of your life. And I believe it because I've said it to myself for like years and years. So write down, I have amazing furniture. I have the cutest car. I have income. All the bills are paid. You know, and so there are things that you have that were a prayer before. If you focus in on, I have these things, you will say better things about yourself that morning throughout that day, and you'll say better things to other people. And you'll be loving towards self and then loving to others. And from this space, all good things come to you. From the space of love, joy, peace, others will come to you. Like, I didn't find Noble IJ. I didn't find any of the interviews I've done this week. Everyone is coming to me because I'm sitting in a space of I'm open, I'm available to you. I offer you joy, I offer you peace, offer you love. And so all the things you're dreaming of will just start to knock on your door.
Absolutely. It's so true.
Gratitude. I know it's so cliche, but I promise you, it's the only way. You have to do it. There's no way to get from here to there without the gratitude. I don't, there's no way. So shall I give you all the links?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So first step is order the book or download it. There's a Kindle option. It's actually available on every website for books. I know people love Amazon, so that's an easy option. But I have all the links for all the bookstores on my website, which is FromPainToPurpose.org.
Okay.
And then if you just click on about the book, which I think is the second tab, you'll get like 7 optional bookstores to order it from. You can order it on paper if you're super into paper. You can download it to your Kindle.
That's me. I'm a paper girl.
And then for listeners of The Beautifully Broken Me, we're going to go ahead and offer a gift.
Whoa.
Yeah. I don't do this for everyone. So if you're hearing this, I recommend that you cash in on this because it won't last forever and I don't do it often. But I wanted to do it. I was inspired to do it. So let's do it. So when people download the book, a lot of times they get to a session, one of the 12, and they want to dig deeper and they want a personal coaching moment. So here at my.org, we offer 1-hour sessions and they're normally $100. If you message me on my website and let me know that you listened to the Beautifully Broken Me podcast that I did here today, and by name, say it by name, I will give you 1 free coaching session in reference to one of the 12 sessions. So all you gotta do is download the book. It doesn't cost a ton of money. And then I wanna let people know that I wrote other books before. I've written many articles for online magazines. I wrote a couple books with doctors in the past, but this was my first solo book that I wrote, just me, no other authors included. And I was inspired to donate the entirety of the proceeds to our benevolence fund. My organization provides resources for free to human trafficking survivors.
Wow.
So all of the proceeds, all of the profits from this purchase go into that benevolence fund for survivors of exploitation and human trafficking by the commercial sex trade. And so please know that, like, even if you don't want to read the book, just buy it anyway and give it away, because it's all going to go back into this community that I am I'm honored to govern here in Los Angeles and allow us to provide all kinds of resources to survivors.
Wow. Yay. Come on, guys. Listen, guys, get the book. Get the book and enjoy a 1 hour free coaching. Oh my God, this is a no-brainer. And this is what $100. Like it's an incredible gift. And yeah, just do it while it lasts. Limited space is available.
I'm gonna limit it. We're gonna end it at a certain point. So do it like now.
Yeah, honestly, like, just do it while it lasts. Come on, guys, let's do it. Let's do it. Yay. Oh my God, I have been so blessed, just listening to you and just kind of like, enjoying the wisdom, from you and all the blessings, all that you shared. I really want to thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for, doing what you're doing. You're such an incredible gift to the world. Yes, you are.
I want to thank you for speaking that truth over my presence. It matters to me and it makes a difference in my life to hear you say that I matter and that me still being here matters.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I have had an amazing time on this show. I'm so glad you guys reached out. And I honor you, Noble IJ, for purposing your life in this direction, for being a resource. We couldn't do it without you and people like you. So thank you, and thank you for having me here.
You too. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of the day. Stay blessed and be well. Thank you.
Bye, guys.